Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins, we've got the documentary UFO Endgame to Disclosure. It's dropping tonight worldwide on all streaming services. We're going to be giving you tonight sneak peeks behind the conspiracy, the cover-up of the phenomenon known as UFOs or false flag. Is it around the corner? This is our trilogy follow-up to Countdown to Disclosure, Above Top Secret, now UFO Endgame to Disclosure. We've got Michael Schratt, military historian. We've also have Jim Goodall, along with Dr. Stephen Greer, going over the topic of what's happening right now in regards to the phenomenon. So let's get to the first sneak peek exclusive right here on Third Phase of Moon from UFO Endgame to Disclosure from former FBI agent John D'Souza. Watch this.
We are just going to be no more of these near misses. Near misses are already considered a hostile action in a military kind of milieu. It already is. But what we're going to have is we're going to have direct military action from these UAPs, these Tic Tacs, which are of all shapes and sizes, by the way. And we will have a huge hostile action against an entire battleship or many airliners as well. And we're going to see huge consequences from that because they have to do it at this point because people are losing interest in the UAP situation. They're seeing fraud artists like Elizondo and others that work with him as well, and people are just not impressed that much by these Tic Tacs and this 1950s videos that they're showing. People just don't care. So they have to go into the desperate, if they want to keep this alive, and they have to, because this is Operation Failsafe. When everything else fails and they got nothing else, they're going to have to go to fake alien invasion. That's what we're facing, that's what we're looking at, and that is something that will absolutely happen.
John D'Souza, retired FBI agent known as the X-Men. Some of his statements are highly provocative, but if true, is the false flag alien invasion right around the corner? According to John D'Souza, he believes it is, and quite provocative. Again, as we say it, right here at Third Phase Moon, this is not a nothing burger. This documentary will give you evidence and go behind the scenes of the secret cover-up for a potential of catastrophic events known as the false flag alien invasion. There is a cover-up, the major media, in regards to the real truth of what's going on. Every single day it gets harder and harder to put out the information. When you search UFO anywhere, they go back to CNN and Fox. What's happening? They're on the same narrative. There is a cover-up and we're not being told the truth. Now, let's get to another exclusive cut right here on Third Phase of Moon with Jane C. Goodall, one of the most respected historians of aviation in modern history. Here's a clip, again, exclusive from UFO Endgame to Disclosure.
Bob Lazar did it. He decided that it was worth the risk because he felt that his life was in danger, and that may be the catalyst that makes someone else decide, I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to go public on what I know, what I've seen. And that has to happen. There's got to be legislation put forward. Now, I don't think it's going to happen with this president, maybe his replacement. But it has to be done because this information has to get out. If we are being visited by interdimensional beings from wherever, we should know about it. We should be prepared. I mean, if you don't know who your adversary is, if you don't know who the enemy of the people are, besides the federal government, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. And I'm talking about the world in general, not just individuals, and I want to know. And I've been criticized for asking, demanding answers from my government. but it is my government.
Great questions, great statement from Jim Goodall in the exclusive clips brought to you right here on Third Phase of Moon. UFO Endgame to Disclosure is available right now. We're supplying the link below to be viewed on all streaming services like iTunes, Amazon Prime, Vimeo, you name it. You can watch it right now. And what James C. Goodall is stating in this documentary is groundbreaking. You won't believe what he has to say if disclosure isn't given to us. And let me tell you, is it going to come from our president right now, or is it going to be something that the public will have to bring on the forefront? These are the questions and some of the answers that you will find as we traverse across the country from Hawaii, California, Arizona, Washington, D.C., Virginia, to bring you some of these incredible interviews from the top ufologists on the planet. Right now, let's get to another exclusive clip right here, a sneak peek to UFO Endgame. Guys, take a close look at this. It's mind-boggling.
In terms of, them busting into places and bringing things out, it's going to be a negotiated situation by using leverage. Now, what does the legal constitutional government of the United States have that these organizations don't have? The rule of law, the Constitution, prosecutorial powers, and subpoena powers. So at a certain point, once I have been giving enough specific information that they have gotten into and seen that this is real, it then becomes a matter of political and social will to bring these projects to heel and put them on a leash so that they're overseen appropriately by we the people and our people's representatives. So that is really how that's going to happen. Someone recommended when Obama got inaugurated that I recommend that he go in with tactical nuclear weapons into some of these facilities. And I said, this is the craziest thing I ever heard of. I said, no, we're not going to recommend that. But it wouldn't work anyway, because they would just self-destruct all those assets, because they have things in place to do that.
Explosive information coming in from Dr. Greer as we were on location in Washington, D.C., the state capital. And what he had to state in regards to if the president wanted to request some kind of invasion in one of these skiffs that held the secrets of alien existence and reverse engineering, what would happen? He stated, and I guess apparently to Dr. Stephen Greer, he gave the president advice that would be a very, very bad idea because of a self-destruct mechanism that would bring the base down to cover up all the evidence. Is this some of the backup plans that our government has put into place in a black budget program kept secret from the public? We'll have to see, but this is incredible information that is coming in this documentary, UFO Endgame to Disclosure. Now, let's get to the next exclusive clip right here on Third Phase of Moon. Guys, listen up. Quite incredible coming in from Billy Carson and Michael Schratt.
We have the Space Force, which now is going to be allowed to extract trillions of dollars into projects that they can now claim are to protect Earth from these unknowns, these UAPs. And so it really is another driving force of creating revenue for the military, because right now there's no more wars on the planet. There's nobody else to fight. We've brought democracy to everybody, and now we've turned everything into dust, and now the only way we can make more money in military is to take the war to space.
It's the crash retrievals that are the Rosetta Stone for solving the UFO cover-up, or the Cosmic Watergate as it's called, because it's the crash retrievals that have all the evidence we need. The bodies, the debris, the craft, the autopsies, the reports, the 8x10 glossy black and whites, the gun camera footage. It's all wrapped around the crash retrieval. So if we can, as a group of ufologists, get access to that debris, the bodies, the craft, then we can change the world. But it has to be handed over to the scientific community as a united coalition so that they can third-party independently verify what we're looking at here. Because we could be looking at hoaxes, we could be looking at red herrings off to the side. These guys are very good at keeping secrets. So we need a third-party independent source to verify this, and then we can come out with it.
Both Billy Carson and Michael Schratt appear in the documentary with incredible insight, along with historians following the subject matter for decades. These are the top prominent people to be speaking with in regards to the Disclosure Project. We're not getting it from DC. They're being hush-hush about it, top secret meetings, evidence being hidden from the public. What Michael Schratt, military aerospace historian, has to say is quite interesting, as he brings up what we need is a third party to bring in to verify the evidence, so the scientists could look at this and verify what exactly is going on. Right now, we don't have anything except Arrow, but right now, Arrow is being very secretive in regards to their information. What would the world look like if the technology was given out as we deserved? Well, Dr. Greer delves into the possibility of a world that would be unprecedented in regards to what's happening right now.
There's no nuclear device on board creating energy, because that would be a huge, as you know, nuclear fission or fusion creates an enormous amount of heat. Nothing. Well, how are they moving? Well, they're using they're using electromagnetic field propulsion, which are very high voltage systems. We understand how they work, but for these covert programs that have been run illegally and without oversight, to admit that, for any part of the US government to admit that, it'd be a scandal 1,000 times bigger than Watergate or Iran-Contra or anything you can think of. Because what it would mean is all the deaths from our space program and shuttles and Apollo missions, like my uncle worked on, and all of the pollution and all the poverty in the world and all the environmental degradation has been unnecessary since 1954.
The world would be different if the technology would be given to the public as we deserve. If they are reverse engineering alien technology, this is an opportunity for mankind, not for individual corporations and oil oligarchs and power around the world, a transnational power. This is something that should be given to the people and given freely. But right now, we're demanding justice. We also have Congressman Tim Burchett with some interviews that we've conducted in regards to disclosure. He believes it's almost impossible to get it the way the government is acting right now. It's called blackmail information, and if they've got something on you, they're going to shut you down. So let me tell you, this documentary is relevant to what's going on at this moment in time. And speaking of what's going on in time right now, we've come across some Google coordinates that was submitted to us on our Facebook of what looks to be something quite incredible in the desert of China. We're going to get a closer look. Guys, what is going on here? The hand of God, people might state. Is this some kind of practical joke? We looked into it. The coordinates are proper. And if you go there yourself, if Google doesn't blur the image, it still might be there. Brett, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, what part of the country is this? And then we find out it's in China. And, you know, China's sometimes, they're not going to let you just go in certain locations. And this place is kind of in the middle of nowhere. What I like is the size of this, the palm print, the hand, the right hand. And they did, who's ever done this, I'm not saying this is unearthed or some sort of archaeological find, but we're looking at something that's I've never seen on the internet. That's why we're sharing it. This thing's large too. We do a little comparison of how big this thing is, and it's measuring quite some length. This thing's pretty impressive with the artwork, if that's what you call it, or could this be a signature of something that's in this region that captures their attention?
Absolutely. The thing is so large, this handprint, it'd be hard to see if you're on the ground. Definitely it has a better visual display looking at from satellite imagery. Look at its size comparatively to the road alongside it. Again, we're not saying this is extraterrestrial in nature. We're just stating this is absolutely bizarro for this to be out in the middle of nowhere. Again, guys, we just want to get your thoughts. again, we did some measurements on there, and there are the parameters of the distance, and we're sharing it to you right now. Again, very detailed handprint. If this were some kind of giant, this thing would be absolutely massive. In my opinion, this is man-made, but again, what's the reason behind it? Maybe the China authorities would like to chime in. We'd appreciate it. If anybody out in China or has any familiarity with the location to this handprint and have any answers to give us, we'd sure like to follow up on this. But right now, we have no idea. This is the first time we've seen this on anywhere, but we could be wrong. But as far as seeing it on Third Phase of Moon, it is the first time. It's the first time we've laid eyes upon it ourselves. Again, we're just sharing you the information as it comes in, and if we don't know what's going on, we're going to try and find out. And at this moment, we have no explanation. Now, let's get back to UFO Endgame to Disclosure. It is available right now worldwide. Amazon Prime, iTunes. The link is below. Guys, you can click it right now. Help support this documentary. It's not easy. There is issues in regards to getting this information out. As you've noticed, it's hard to find Third Phase of Moon. You type it in, you type in UFO, only the major media pops up, and it's getting harder and harder to get this information out. So if you support it, it helps the algorithm in Amazon Prime and everywhere else to put it on their front page. And this is what we need to do. We got to get UFO Endgame on the front page of Amazon Prime and go number one, like we did with Countdown to Disclosure for over 4 months on Amazon and iTunes, the top documentary. Then we came out with the sequel, Above Top Secret, that crushed records once again, claiming the top spot on Amazon and iTunes. Let's do this once again for UFO Endgame to Disclosure. Brett, what's your thoughts on this whirlwind of a year traveling to DC and across the country to garnish these interviews with these guys and listen to what they have to say? There's no scripting going on here. This is just simply us asking questions and getting answers. Brent?
There's really nothing better like this. We've been doing this 3 years in a row with some of these huge documentaries, and what I got to say is I'm just so pumped about UFO Endgame. I'm thinking this is the best, it's like the Return of the Jedi of the Star Wars trilogy. It just caps it off, and we get all this information, and it's so relevant on what's happening in today's world. And the UFO threat as a major media gives that narrative. We have another opposition to that, and we're just really happy to meet everybody involved. We got Jim Goodall, Michael Schratt, some of the best people on the planet, and working with Greer, where we work insides and get the information as he's getting it and delivering it to Washington and the insiders too at the same time. So it's a collaboration. Tim Burchett, and then we have Avi Loeb making statements as well. We kind of run the gamut on this one, and it's a powerhouse of a documentary. I just can't wait to we're going to be watching this tonight on Amazon Prime, because we never get to see it in its 4K Ultra HD. Only time we get to see it is when it's premiered on Amazon. So I want to see it in its full glory, and I'm stoked on that one, Blake.
Absolutely. 4K, it almost looks surreal. It has a 3D element when you watch it. It's just incredible. And we also got Billy Carson in there from Ancient Aliens and all his work in regards to the cover-up of information. So once again, UFO Endgame to Disclosure, it's available right now. The link is below. Please support it. Share this link with your friends on social media. It's up to us to get the word out and demand that we find the truth in regards to the phenomenon that you and I know is real. Now, here's the trailer for UFO Endgame. Everybody be safe. We'll be back very soon with exclusive interviews with Dr. Stephen Greer, Jim Goodall, Michael Schratt, and John D'Souza. Buckle up for that. We'll see you real soon.
It's a mind-blowing situation. For the public, it's like, oh, a conspiracy theory, it's entertaining. But if you're actually in a responsible position and you find out that there's a whole secret government program that you don't know about, it's a shock.
This report comes from a shadowy Pentagon department that was shut down in 2012.
The disclosure movement has been hijacked by people parroting the narrative and the script being written by these black projects. I would say 90+% of everything that's going to come out is false.
The most widely seen UFO right now is not alien, it's actually ours.
It's a great cover story for all kinds of criminal activities. Blame it on the aliens, right?
If we are being visited by interdimensional beings, we should know about it.
This has the big disadvantage of the truth being much more unbelievable than the fiction.
It's the crash retrievals that are the Rosetta Stone for solving the UFO cover-up.
The implications of this is the difference between extinction level civilization versus one that's going to take off to the stars.
It's available worldwide March 14th, 2023. Guys, take care. We'll see you next time.